Finally, NBA playoff ball is here. This is why we all watch basketball, man. This is my favorite time of basketball. And I love situations like this. As we all know at this point, the number 1 seeds in both conferences lose to the number 8 seed. It's at the first time that's happened since 2003. I'm ready to talk about it. Y'all ready to hear about it? Let's get it. All right, so we'll start off with the game everybody was looking to see. You know, the LA Lakers versus the Portland Trail Blazers. Trailblazers pulled out, as we all know at this point, 100-93. And guys, I love games like this. This is kind of like what college basketball is comprised of. You get some teams who have a really good record versus a team that's playing really hot. And when you mix those two things together, that's how you get these upsets in this tournament. If it was ever a time that the NBA was more like the NCAA is now, everybody's playing the bubble. Everybody, you know, the kind of the intricacies of like what home court advantage can produce at certain times, that's kind of null and void. Now they got the artificial sounds, they got other ways to kind of, you know, mimic or emulate that type of feel, but there's nothing like, you know, 40,000 bodies and seats with the same jerseys on in unison, cheering in unison. So that kind of takes that dynamic away. So it turns it like, I mean, for all my hoopers out there, if y'all ever played in this tournament in some city you ain't never been in, against talent that's either equal or a little better than you, and some days you just go out there and you get the best out of them. Same deal here, man. Now, I harken this back to my junior college years playing basketball. Sometimes we played in the gym. It wasn't that many people in the gym. And we bust some team ass we probably shouldn't have bust. But that's how it go, man. So enough of all that, man. Let's get into the actual intricacies of the basketball game. And I just got to start off with Dame time, baby. Golly. If you wasn't a believer, you got to be a believer now, man. Dame time, man. The guy just knows when to show up, man. We talking about last night putting up 34, 5, and 5, man. Now, granted, he didn't have the best shooting game in his life. He shot 9 for 21 and 6 of 13 from 3. But what you got to kind of understand is, like, volume shooters, you're going to have that flux of percentage. So I like efficiency. I'm a big guy on being efficient and proficient. But sometimes you just kind of shooting it. You know, you just letting it fly, man. Your emotions are going. This is a high-strung matchup. So you're just trying to get your rocks off. So I'm not mad at Dame for not shooting. Now, from 3, he shot really well, like almost 50%. But, you know, sometimes you got to just kind of keep seeing what the defense is giving you and just keep putting attempts up. So, and also we saw the big bomb late that Dame hit, man. Like, I mean, Dame time is a thing, man. You know, I wasn't a big believer in it. Again, Dame is a guy I've always liked, man. Hey, y'all know my story, man. I used to coach Prairie View A&M University. We actually played against Dame Lillard at UCLA when he played for Weber State. And he didn't even start. Like, Dame Lillard didn't even start. He's like the only black dude on the team. Or there's like just a few of them. And so I remember, you know, doing the scouting report and talking about him, but he didn't really do nothing in that game. And just to see him ascend to where he's come from that point, I've always been a fan. And I kind of like Oakland guys, man. Oakland guys are tough and rough around the edges, man. So, you know, so it's kind of good to see Dame get his rocks off, man. Even though, as y'all know, I'm a Lakers fan. I ain't trying to see my team lose, but, you know, good basketball is good basketball. And let's talk about CJ McCollum, man. Mr. Third Quarter, man. Like, so when Dame kind of was struggling getting it going, man, CJ kept him going with his signature, you know, ISO ball. ISO CJ is what I want to call him, man. You know, he puts his head down and he ain't got no intent on passing. He had 21 and 5 last night, not a single assist. That's just CJ McCollum, man. He ain't looking for no assist, bro. So he was 8 for 20 and 3 for 8 from 3, which is, again, not the most proficient game, but with a small backcourt like that, you're going to get a lot of inefficiency this game. So the way they're going to beat the Lakers is just kind of getting hero shots and making them. It's kind of like, again, in the NCAA finals, tournament. You'll see teams, when they beat a team they're not supposed to beat, that's because they're just shooting. They're just putting a lot of threes up. When you hit more threes than them and you got matchup issues that you take advantage of, that's how you get these upsets. And so I got to say this, man. My boy Hassan Whiteside has been so maligned with his Portland Trail Blazer history, and even late Miami history. He played tremendous defense down the stretch, man. Big blocks on LeBron. He had another block, I believe, on Kyle Kuzma. And these were buckets that would kind of set the momentum for the game. Well, set the ending for the game, rather. And he came up big, man. He was in foul trouble, which is pretty much the story for everybody on Portland's team. Melo had 5 fouls. Dame had 5 fouls. I think Hassan had 5 fouls himself. And this is a really good sign pressing forward for the Blazers because Gary Trent Jr., who's been their pretty much second bubble MVP, he was only 3 for 8 and only had 5 points. He didn't play exceptionally well. And the Blazers played a very, very short bench. They only played 8 guys last night, which you got to ride the hot streak. I get why Terry Stotts is doing it. But I will say this. I wouldn't get too happy. As you see, Charles Barkley was talking about it's going to be a sweep. He was loving every minute of this, but I wouldn't get too excited. I wouldn't get my britches too high because that is a very, very tough dynamic to stick with. And I get it, Zach Collins did not play. So the Blazers weren't 100%, which is good. That looks good for them. But to only play 8 guys and to barely squeak out one at the end like that, that doesn't bode well for the longevity of the series. So let's keep our eyes on that. Let's talk a little bit about what the Lakers did, man. So LeBron did his thing as far as numbers is concerned. LeBron gonna do that. 23, 17, and 16, man. I think that's his 16 assists is his man, why can't I find a word? That's gonna be his playoff career high for assists in one game, and that's good. Now, on the inverse of that, LeBron did not shoot well. He shot 9 for 20. He shot bad from 3. Same with AD. AD shot horrible from 3. He was 8 for 24. He finished up with 28 and 11. And one thing I like to kind of tell you guys is you can't get so stuck on numbers, man. Like, statistically, they had a great game. But when it was time to lace those boots up, when it was time to get after it, man, I'm going to keep it a bill, man. Again, I'm a Laker fan. LeBron AD was a no-show, man. Kyle Kuzma was trying his best, and I like Kyle Kuzma, man. He plays really hard, and he is blessed with a very, very good basketball frame, being 6'9", 6'10", can move, can put on the floor. He just has a very sloppy game to me, man. Like it's like his mind wants to do something, but his body is doing the second thing, man. And so I just think when Kuzma is your third leading scorer, that's not really going to lead to a championship nucleus. Now, but again, he chipped in 14. He was 5 of 14 from the field. So I'm not going to poo-poo his performance. He came off the bench. And he pretty much all that the Lakers got off the bench. I mean, Dwight Howard played well too, but he was in foul trouble. What else is new? And the bottom line of the story is the Lakers shot 5 from 32 from 3, man. That's not good enough. You're not going to beat a playoff team, especially a team red hot like this team that wasn't. Listen, the way this formula was presented, it was not for the Portland Trail Blazers to be in the NBA playoffs. It was for the Hornets and the what's another team? For the Grizzlies to maintain the position. So these guys are red hot, equal only to the Phoenix Suns, who were undefeated in the bubble. So if I'm the Phoenix Suns, I'm putting out bubble champion shirts. That franchise has been so bad, man. I would have no shame about putting bubble champion shirts out. Kind of akin to like UCF when they were undefeated, but they play a cupcake schedule and they say they were the NCAA champions in football. I do the same thing. I mean, as a Laker fan, I know that is blasphemy as far as my franchise, but let's not kid ourselves. The Suns ain't the Lakers, bro. You got to get the fans behind you moving some kind of way, and I would do it with no shame. No shame whatsoever. So, and also, again, man, like I said, like the Lakers shot themselves in the foot missing free throws down the stretch, man. And with LeBron, he's not a career good free throw shooter. However, when the game is on the line, LeBron tends to step up and make shots, or at least he splits them. AD is money. I remember with about 2 minutes left, AD missed both his free throws. That is unacceptable, man. And so I got to have that smoke for AD, a player that I personally like, but that's not good enough, big fella. You came here to the Lakers to be a championship piece to this franchise. You didn't come here to be okay. You didn't come here for your normal first-round exit. So you got to step that up. And Shaq said it best last night, man. You start the game off with 21 points at halftime, which is very hard to do. You finish the game with 28. Come on, brother. You need to step that up, man. You need to step that up. So, looking forward, I think the Lakers going to right the ship. But I still think they're in for a headache, man. I just wonder how long the Trailblazers can keep up this playoff mode that they've been having pretty much since they entered the bubble. I really wonder, can they keep this up? Can they keep this intensity up? Can they keep on playing like every game is their last and yield positive results? We don't know yet. We will see. But it's a game 2. That's all I got for game 1. All right, so that takes us into game 2, which is the 8 seed Orlando Magic. The home team, quote unquote, the home team of the bubble against the Giannis Antetokounmpo-led Milwaukee Bucks. And, man, they had a convincing win, man. We're talking 122 to 110, 12-point victory, being the underdog. That's an impressive win, man. Definitely impressive win, especially with Jonathan Isaac being out and kind of coming off what they did last year, man. And so it shouldn't be a heavy surprise because if you remember, the Magic beat the Toronto Raptors in the first game of the playoffs, and it was a big upset. DJ Augustine, as we remember, with a big shot to settle that game. And they came back and got a gentleman's sweep. So for those who don't know what that is, they lost 4 games to 1. So it was a 1 game of glory. So my prediction is we're going to see more of the same of that. And I'm going to tell you, it's for a few reasons. Now, before I get into that, I want to say what Orlando did well, man. Orlando did a very good job of getting after it. Vujovic, oh my God, 35 and 14. I think he had a double-double in the first quarter, 10 and 10. That's crazy, man. Now, he came to play, man, and I ain't got a dog in this fight, but that's something that you really should tip your hat to, man. A guy out there getting after it, understanding the stakes of a playoff win. Markelle Fultz sighting. Markelle Fultz, the much maligned point guard, former number 1 pick, who couldn't at one point even have his shot together to even be on the floor. 15 points, very impressive. The Magic bench did well, man. Terrence Ross and DJ Augustine, a.k.a. the hero of last year, both had 18 and 11 off the bench. So they got a lot of help from their guys for the Orlando Magic. And Aaron Gordon had a good game as well. And so this bodes well. Or I got to say this too, Evan Fournier. Evan Fournier pretty much gave them nothing until the fourth quarter. He gave them 9 off of 3 threes. And so that's just the kind of contributions you got to have to beat quality teams, man, in the playoffs. Everybody has to put their hard hat on, and everybody has to step up. And the Bucks, from the inverse, didn't quite get the best performances out of the guys, man. Didn't quite get the best performances, man. So, Giannis, he had a good game. I mean, he had 31, 17, and 7. That is a good stat line. But you know me, man, here at Hoop Jargon, we're not stat line whores. It's like, what do you do when it mattered? And the fact is, they packed him in. And Giannis, I mean, he shot pretty good from 3. He shot 3 from 7. Slightly, a little bit under 500, 50% from 3. That's good. That's what you want. But you got to make timely threes. You got to step up when it matters, man. And I'm going to put an MIA out on Chris Middleton, man, because he is a fringe all-star type of guy. He shot 4 of 12 for 14 points. Not good enough, homeboy. Not good enough. If you're going to be the Robin to the Batman, which is Giannis, you got to step the hell up. And I'm going to give a little smoke to Brook Lopez, too. Now, at this point of his career, he shouldn't be a guy you should rely on so much. But, if you watch him play, dog, in some games, Brook Lopez has been looking like a little baby Kareem. I never thought I would see the day, this late in his career, Brook Lopez is getting fed down low and the offense is going through him. But I've seen it. He has that type of ability, man. Like, he is if you don't know, he's always been a great interior scorer, and now he's turned himself to a great offensive, outside threat. And so he's very proficient at the three-point line, but on the drop of a hat, he can go back into his inside game. But yesterday, we saw none of that. He gave the Milwaukee Bucks a whopping 5 and 4 in 30 minutes of play. Not good enough, homeboy. Off the bench, Milwaukee Bucks bench gave you nothing, and I think they played about 11 guys last night. The only guy who stepped up, which is, he's always going to be this solid, consistent player. That's going to be George Hill. George Hill gave him 16 off the bench. That's very impressive, man. And so the Bucks, again, I think the Bucks just stick to their game plan. The Bucks ride Giannis out, and Brook Lopez have a decent game. Chris Middleton just show up. I don't think they're going to have a major problem with this team. And I think it's going to look a little bit how it looked last year with the gentleman's sweep. But we don't want to take advantage. We don't want to take away from what Orlando did. And that was a definitely great victory as a quote-unquote road team / home team. And let's just call it the Bucks, the team that is definitely not as equipped to win a playoff series. So that's definitely a great steal for game one. So I'm very much interested to see how these game twos are going to shake out. My opinion, I think the Lakers win their series in 6. I think the Bucks win theirs in 5. But we shall see. It would not surprise me at all if the Trailblazers come and just play a crazy series and win it in 7. It would surprise me if the Magic pulled off this upset. I'm not going to lie. I don't see how they can keep this effort up for a 7-game series against this type of talent. I just don't see Middleton and Brook Lopez playing this bad again as a collective. So, and I would say this. If it's anywhere this can happen, it's the bubble. Because, again, you don't have some of the same home court advantages that you may lean on, and it feels more like an NCAA tournament. And if you play basketball like I did, like I talked about earlier, anything can happen when